I can hear me. Okay, so here we are. How long have I got? About -1 minute. Right, just check that works. Excellent. Right. So what I want to do is to discuss, well, I should say good morning. Sorry, good morning. Right. What I want to do is discuss some work I've been doing, call it research if you like, on the use of robots in testing. And so the title is kind of provocative, an attempt to try and get you interested in what tools might be doing for us in the future. And kind of my perspective on this is it's like a research project, okay? I'll tell you my conclusion, and I'll tell you a story of the research, if you like, and I'll come to a conclusion at the end, which is kind of an interesting one. It's not a bad one or a good one. It's just, to me, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of the next kind of step in our journey towards, perfect testing, whatever the hell that is. So, overall, I want to talk about the impact and influence of tools and bots on testing, and what pathway we might take with the technologies that are out there. And if you like, I'm trying to say, what's the direction of travel? Where are the tool vendors going? Now, the tool vendors might not know, and they might be sort of listening in and saying, oh, Paul says we should do this, we should do that. I don't think so. I don't think they listen to testers. That's one of the problems we have with the vendors. They sell products that are easy to build and sell because they are businesses, they're not testers. So this is kind of an ambition rather than a conclusion, if you like. Now, if robots are going to replace testers, do we need to prepare for some kind of traumatic change? Have we got a real disaster, a tidal wave coming in our direction that's going to kill us all? I don't think so, but you see what you think. You tell me. And I want to kind of look at this kind of, I've got a brand new clicker now. Ooh, I can click on the ceiling, excellent. I want to talk about this stuff, how will tools and automation support us in the future? That's kind of what's of interest. And I want to sort of set a if you like, a signpost and say, I think this is the way we should go. Okay. So I don't know how much attention you pay to the computer press, but in the UK at least, about every week or 2 weeks we get a news item, the BBC News, saying the world is going bot mad, people are going to be replaced by robots, lots and lots, thousands and thousands of jobs are going to go. People are going to have to find new ways of doing business. But the demand for IT and software people is going to explode. So we're okay. The rest of the world are in big trouble, but we're okay. Well, I don't think we can consider this use of bots in isolation and just think that it only affects people in business and not in IT. I think if a bot can support a trader in a banking firm, what's the problem with, say, replacing a tester in a software team or a programmer in a software team? So I want to ask the question, can bots replace testers? Now, some people out in the conference circuit and authors, whatever, would say that's absolutely impossible. You can't replace the human brain. Okay? I don't think that's the right answer. I think it is potentially possible, but not yet, okay? And that's kind of my conclusion, if you like. But I want to explore this question a bit further, okay? So, there's my thesis. I won't suggest that tools will replace testers, but I think they can support what we do. So that word support is an important term. So if we're going to use AI, artificial intelligence, or deep learning, or machine learning, or, these are all kind of similar terms, I think, now. Our goals with tools will have to change. So it's not like a tester does this, and we're going to take that part of the job and make a tool do it. I think that works with test automation as we have it today, test execution automation, but I don't think thinking you can do that with, okay? It's a different problem. I think we need, when a tool comes in and supports us, how we behave as testers changes. So we have to kind of adapt to where the tool fits, okay? So it's not a take half my job or half my testers and replace them with a tool. That's never going to happen. That's not how it will work. We're going to replace some of the processes that take place in our head with tools, okay? Some of the clerical processes, perhaps. So I want to suggest that the next generation of tools are a necessary step towards fully robotic testing, which is some way off. You can't have fully robotic testing without at least one step in between. And that's a huge step, let me suggest. So one of the reasons I'm kind of quite confident in my story is I'm actually building a tool, and on tomorrow afternoon, I'll do a demo of what I'm playing with at the moment, okay? It's a rough prototype, okay? It's for demonstration rather than production use. But I think this is a signpost of how the tools market might go, okay? So I'm trying to suggest I've got some evidence as well as it's not just theory, okay? I'll use this idea. How do I get rid of this? Oh, I don't want to do that. How do I get rid of this flipping menu bar? I don't know, what the hell. But I'll use the term machine learning a little bit more than AI or deep learning, whatever. What the hell? So I don't know if you were watching. Did anyone play Go? The game Go? Anyone here? The Japanese love it, I think, but it's a game for really deep intellectuals, you know, geniuses. I can't play Go, you know, I haven't got the memory. It's a kind of game where the rules are incredibly simple, but the game is incredibly complex, okay? To understand the game is to be a real master, okay? So what happened is in March this year, Google put this software program together called AlphaGo, and I think they had, I can't remember what the prize money was. Was it $1 million or $5 million, or a lot of money anyway? And they pitched the best Go player in the world against AlphaGo, a computer program. And over 5 games, the computer program won 4-1. Now with chess, let me say this. If you don't know anything about Go, the board is very simple. You have 19 by 19 grid, okay? You put the pieces, black or white, on the intersections of the grid, so it's 19 by 19 kind of matrix. And there are only 2 rules. 2 rules. Okay, and I won't bore you with the detail, but the rules are these guys, the rule of liberty and the co-rule, as it's called. All the other game is like there are no rules. It's just a full-on battle of brains, of wits. Okay. Now, what's interesting is with chess, IBM built was it Deep Blue? I think a program which beat Garry Kasparov, the then world champion. And that was hailed as a massive kind of achievement, you know. But Go is interesting because although the rules are very simple, the number of permutations, combinations, the number of games that are possible is just staggering. It's more atoms than there are in the universe, which is kind of a crazy, crazy number. So with chess, you have, I've got a new clicker, I'm not very good with it. So with chess, you have 10 to the 1. I'm not pressing that flipping. Oh, I'm not going to use that. I'll send it back. Okay, so with chess, we have 10 to the 120 moves. So 10 with 120 zeros, 1 and 120 zeros. So that's a pretty astronomically large number. With Go, it's 10 and 761. Go is 10 to the 641 times as complex. That's, you know, that's not like 2 or 3 times. That's so much bigger. A computer, even a computer, the fastest computer on the planet, cannot process moves to the degree and predict moves more than 2 or 3 ahead. It's just impossible. And the nature of the game itself, I can't explain, I've read, but maybe I don't understand well enough myself, but it's different from chess in that with With chess, you have to wait until the next player has moved to have your strategy, whereas with Go, you can play different games in parallel universes almost to come to a conclusion. Anyway, I won't bore you with that. The significant thing is a computer is not calculating its way to success. Okay? It appears, if the people who write the software understand this correctly, it appears that it actually is simulating imagination and intuition, okay? That's new on the agenda, okay? That's not something we've ever seen before. So if, like Go, testing is very simple in theory, in theory, testing is kind of easy, and then we hit real systems and then it becomes immensely complex. Is there a pattern here? Is there a parallel between playing a game of Go and understanding testing to the degree that we can test an infinite number of combinations and permutations but choose the best move next? I think there may be a parallel. So the question is testing prone to computerization? Could testing be on the agenda for AlphaGo, for example? So anyway, so if you're watching these kind of news programs that are saying the world's coming to an end, bots are going to rule the world, all our jobs are going to be destroyed and replaced by robots and software, the source of that kind of story is, or one of them, is a paper produced by Oxford University, I don't know, last year. I think the year before last, I think it was a bit. And they kind of made a list of 702 jobs and ranked them in order of ease of automation, okay? So what they suggested, that telemarketers, cold calls coming from people trying to sell you, I don't know what they sell you over here, but in the UK they're trying to sell us double glazing and life insurance and PPI and all this kind of crap. Okay, you get the same thing. The likelihood of that being done by a robot, very high, 99%, guaranteed almost. If you're going to be work in social services, looking after children, stuff like that, maybe that's not going to be replaced by a bot. Old people in care homes, potentially, robots will be looking after old people. So there will be kind of automatons, lifting old people from a bed to the toilet, all that kind of stuff, because that's a very simple kind of task. It's a very caring task, and people don't like doing it. Not many people can do that. So there's a very curious kind of list of job specs which will be replaced by software and systems. So there are 702, okay? So I'm looking for testers, right? I'm trying to find testers in this list of 700 jobs, and they're not there, okay? But at the top you've got things like that are very difficult to automate. So computer and information research scientists. So these are the techie jobs, okay? The jobs that look like they're related to computing. So research, not really. Looking in the middle, information security analysts, web developers, whatever, 21%. Computer occupations, all other. I don't know what all other means, but whatever, that's about 22%. Computer programmers, 48%. So half of all programmers are going to be replaced by software. Do you believe that? I don't know. And then you have this list at the bottom, if you can see, inspectors, testers, sorters, samplers, and weighers. 98%. Testers. But the kind of testing they're talking about is not what we do, okay? So has anyone worked in a biscuit factory? Am I the only one ever worked in a biscuit factory? Okay, for a summer job when I was a student, I used to do this for 8 hours. Shall I do 8 hours? No, I won't do 8 hours. Okay. Basically, biscuits came down from an oven in rows, okay, and they're hot. And you pick them up, about 17 biscuits, and you drop them into another machine, which takes them away and wraps them in cellophane, whatever, and weighs them, and so on. And you're meant to keep an eye on broken biscuits and all that kind of stuff, okay? That's what they mean here. So a robot is going to be doing this. Yeah, sure. Okay, we understand that. Testers aren't on the list. I don't know where testers fit, but if programmers, potentially the the likelihood of programmers being replaced is about 50%. Surely testers are somewhere around there too, aren't we? We're in that range. So that's what made me think, maybe we should look more closely. Okay, so that's the terrifying bit, but I don't mean it to be. I don't trust this, okay? I think, even though it's been done by academics, and academics are great, but they don't live in the same world as we do, or I do anyway. There's a certain amount of hype in the industry, you know. As you all know, with IT, there's a lots of hype before the reality actually comes close. And in a way, Internet of Things is a bit hyped, do you not think? It's not happening as fast as they would like. Anyway, there is little or no need for machine learning for lots of the tasks they suggest will be replaced by robots. So the machine that does this does not need AI, okay? So I think they've broadened the scope a little bit too big. So they're not suggesting AI is doing it. This is just computerization. Well, hell, that's been going on. I mean, the stuff that did this, I got a job in the factory my father worked in as an engineer. And they did this sort of stuff 25 years ago. So they're out of date. So don't worry. It's not as grim as it looks like this. So I want to move away from this idea of, oh, the robots are coming, and say, well, okay, well, what are tools doing for us today? And what will they do for us tomorrow? And start looking at the hype is okay, but let's pay attention to it. But the important thing is, like, what are the realities? You know, what is actually happening with automation and tools in our industry? So the first thing I want to say here is, and I'm just checking my time, I've got to run 20 minutes late, haven't I?